This is a psychological analysis of your perfectionism. And this is a necessary key to understand your perfectionism, to understand the underlying mechanisms, where is it coming from, what's healthy, what's unhealthy. It's the necessary foundation. And again, I did my research on YouTube and I didn't find a video that is going in that depth and having such a psychological understanding of where perfectionism is coming from and how it works. So stick around. First of all, I want to distinguish functional perfectionism from dysfunctional perfectionism. Functional perfectionism, if you're engaging in that, this is nothing really we need to change. This is actually potentially what a lot of people even want in some situations. At least they can decide when to be a perfectionist and when not in a functional way. And this means that you're very much positively motivated. That means you want to strive towards something. You would like to give a perfect presentation. You would like to create a perfect documentary. You would simply like to create perfect and beautiful work. And you love engaging in that. And there's also a lot of intrinsic motivation. You just enjoy the process of crafting this and making this perfect. It's like this little kid building a city with Lego, and it's just engaged and it's just loving to doing a really good job. And the dysfunctional perfectionism, this is more about fear of failure. I don't want to do something wrong. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be perfect. I'm afraid that people will not like me. There's a lot of insecurity involved, a lot of pain, a lot of stress, and that's the dysfunctional perfectionism. And we're going to talk about this dysfunctional perfectionism in this video. So first of all, here's the theoretical origin of this dysfunctional perfectionism. So in theory, if you take a closer look into your childhood, your parents have either been very critical, or they have not been very much supportive, or they gave you this conditional love. You know, maybe from the outside, your parents seem very nice, they've been caring, they had a great intention, but they gave you this conditional love. If you're doing a good job, if you have a good grade in high school, then people praise you, your parents praised you. But if you were not doing a really good job, then you didn't get so much love, and people and your parents were concerned, and you noticed that I'm worthy. If I'm doing a good job, then they praise me. And again, that attention has been beautiful. They just wanted you to do good, but you learned you need to earn your love and you need to do a good job. Or they simply have been very critical. Maybe your father even has been a narcissist, or you didn't get a lot of support. There are a lot of different ways. But basically this critical and conditional love. And you started to criticize yourself a lot. You started to be very critical, and if you're not doing a good job, you're already having this negative self-talk of, damn, you should do a better job. And this is very much connected to perfectionism. And this is basically simply a strategy that you are anticipating of, oh, if I'm not doing a good job, I'm not gonna get loved. And I'm not doing a good job, I get criticized again. So let me criticize myself first. So I really make sure I do a good job. Oh, damn, you don't do this right, I should do this perfect. So then I can avoid being criticized later on, or I can avoid not being loved later on. So basically what happened, you also created this fear of failure. I don't want to do a bad job, otherwise there are negative consequences. Because of this fear of failure, you start to become a perfectionist, wanting to do everything great. But this gave you a lot of stress in return, and the stress often leads to procrastination. And maybe at first this sounds counterintuitive. Wait, but I'm a perfectionist, how can I be a procrastinator? But you probably know what I'm talking about. It's quite a paradox at the first glance that your standards are up here, but then you procrastinate even more than maybe others do. But this is closely connected because those high standards give you so much stress, and people don't want to face stress, they want to avoid it. So procrastination is a mechanism to avoid stress, which in the end is also trying to help you because your body doesn't want to deal with all this stress. But it doesn't work, of course, it gives you more stress long term, but it is often connected. Also, if you're a perfectionist, you probably have a low sense of self and what do you want. Because all those years, all your life, you were always orienting yourself outside of yourself. Am I doing a good job? Am I getting the approval? You're seeking external validation. And you want to achieve external validation through achievements. So always checking, am I doing a good job? Am people liking me? And you haven't really asked yourself, what do I want? Maybe your parents also didn't ask you this a lot. What do I want? Do I like that? Do I not like that? What would I like to engage in? What do I think is good or bad? And actually make up your own mind. And that's why you're very much checking outside, and that makes you also very insecure. Also, you're controlling a lot, and to a degree also micromanaging. And again, this is originated in this fear of, let's not do something wrong, fear of failure. Let's have control over all that, and let's make sure I'm doing fine so I'm not getting criticized or I'm not getting my love withdrawn. A lot of insecurity involved here. And that's why you have a so-called fixed mindset. A fixed mindset, that's important right now. Fixed mindset means that if I'm failing at something, for example, you're trying to solve a puzzle and it doesn't work, then you feel like, oh damn it, I am a failure. I failed here, that's why I am a failure. And also, I cannot change. Like I messed up, and that's just the way it is. So I should do a good job to prove that I'm fine. That's a fixed mindset. That good outcomes means you're a good person, bad outcomes mean you're a bad person or a low-performing person. In contrast, there's the growth mindset. And the growth mindset is more about, oh, I cannot figure out this puzzle. Interesting. I can learn something here. Now it's getting interesting. How can I resolve that? Interesting, because if I'm winning all the time, I'm not learning. I'm very curious. I want to learn how this works. And I know that I can grow and change, and failure simply means there's an opportunity to grow. And you don't have that mindset. Because for you in the past, as a child, your parents are the world. And if your mother and father criticizes you or is not giving you the love, the world is not giving you the love. So important to you. So you really need to make sure that you're doing a good job. Otherwise, it's going to be a total mess. That's how it felt as a child, and that's how you still nowadays feel, and that's why you're a perfectionist. In a sense, perfectionism, or you being a perfectionist, means that you're stubborn. Because your bar is up here, but you're just a human being and you don't want to lower it. You want to keep it up there. And that's a problem. But you need to understand that this perfectionism, based on an evolutionary perspective, makes a lot of sense. It's a survival mechanism. You just want to do fine, and you should have some more compassion towards that. You just want to do a good job. You just want to survive. You just want to be loved by others. Because back in the days, people never lived on their own. They always lived in tribes. Back in the days, if people don't like you or think you're not competent and you're just adding additional weight to the tribe and are actually not contributing, people will kick you out, and then you're on your own, and then you will die. So this perfectionism is actually a mechanism trying to survive. But this perfectionism is not always very helpful, because again, you're self-criticizing yourself a lot, and this is lowering your self-efficacy. Your self-efficacy is how much you feel like you're having abilities and skills. And if you feel like you're not capable, you're also not going to be capable. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's lowering your motivation. And now you might say, well, okay, I'm a perfectionist, my standards are up here, I just should lower them. And probably you tried this. Like, oh, I have such high standards, I should lower them. But you noticed it doesn't work. Well, there's a reason for that. Telling a perfectionist to lower their standards is like telling somebody who is really angry in the very moment, and you just tell them, hey, calm down. Don't be so angry. It doesn't work to be angry right now. It's not helpful. Just calm down. That never works, right? Never works. Probably makes the person even more angry. And that's the same with you telling yourself, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Just lower your standards. That doesn't work. And don't worry, by the way, you don't need to lower your standards. You don't need to throw away your ambition. I think that's fine. You just need to change your attitude towards that. Because right now, doing a perfect job is for you very, very important. Very important. It's also, adding to the stress and everything. And you simply want to change that attitude of this is very, very important to This is interesting. I think it would be interesting to do a really good job there. I think I would like to do that. It's not a must. It's not like I must perform perfect here right now. It's more like it's a nice to have. I would like to do that. It's a desire, but not a must have. And that's also connected to your self-esteem. I don't have to do, I don't must perform that up here, so my self-esteem is fine. I can, it's a nice to have, it's interesting, but I'm already worthy as I am. I'm not a human doing, I'm a human being. Understanding that will also give you a more lighthearted attitude, and then you actually also perform better. It's a funny connection here. Right now also what you're doing and your successes is very much your identity. And you also want to withdraw a little bit from that. Your achievements are not your whole identity. And that's the problem right now. That's exactly this fixed mindset that if I perform well, then I am well. If I perform bad, I am bad. Because your entire achievements and what you do, this is all your identity. So if you simply mess up here, you are messed up. And that's a problem, this fixed mindset. It's a very risky bet. You always need to be perfect to be fine. And if this doesn't happen, you're a loser. And that's very problematic. And by the way, this is also a cognitive distortion. It's an all or nothing thinking that you're engaging in constantly. If I win, I'm great. If I do a mistake, I'm bad. That's horrible. This all or nothing thinking. There's nothing in between. And this even amplifies your self-criticism because you're not going to be perfect. You noticed, right? And that's why if you don't do something perfect, you're a loser. You're criticizing yourself a lot. You're putting yourself down a lot. Which mostly happens because mostly we're not perfect. And that's exactly also this fixed mindset, what I'm talking about. It's all or nothing thinking. Either I'm good or I'm bad. And that's very stressful. It's lowering your self-esteem. It's not healthy, and you're not performing better. Probably you're even more procrastinating. There's nothing positive about this self-criticism at this point. It's not functional anymore. It's dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional perfectionism. Yeah. I want to share a little example from my own life. I started playing piano when I was 5. My brother actually started playing. He's 3 years older. And then I saw him playing and I was like, wow, how is he doing that? He's playing the piano and he's just pressing some of those keys and it somehow sounds good. How is he doing that? I want to learn that too. And when I press those keys, it doesn't sound good, but it seems like he's doing the same as I do. How does this work? I was very curious. I wanted to figure this out. So I started to get actually lessons with 5 years. And I was very talented, apparently. I did a very good job. I was really into it, learned a lot. And then at some point, my teacher praised me a lot. You're doing awesome. And then he said, oh, you should go and actually perform in front of people. My mom also said, yeah, you should do this. You're great. You're awesome. And then I started doing those not concerts, but I was playing in front of people. And suddenly this shift happened where it's more about performing well, doing an even better job, taking over my brother maybe even, or doing a good job at those performances in front of other people. And this stressed me a lot. Also, when I then had those performances, my hands got really wet and I actually started to overthink and I actually did mistakes then. And this stressed me a lot. On top of that, I always played classical music and I told my teacher and my mom, hey, I would actually like to play more pop, like new songs that I know. And I said, no, they're too easy. You need to play the classical stuff. And what happened over the years is that this intrinsic motivation of me, I want to do a great job, I enjoy doing this, learning this, turned into this extrinsic motivation, turned into this perfectionism, I need to do a good job, this overly focusing on the outcome. And over the years, I hated it. And at some point, I didn't feel fun anymore, didn't enjoy it anymore, and then I just stopped playing totally. And this perfectionism actually led me to not enjoying what I'm doing anymore. I didn't like it anymore. And then I had a break. My parents became also more chilled, and at some point I actually started again, but I told my teacher I want to play pop songs. And he said, okay, let's do that. And it was a totally different connection to what I did. There were no performances anymore. I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to play pop songs. I just want to enjoy. And then I actually started to enjoy it again and be more intrinsically motivated again, and not be this perfectionist of I need to do it perfectly, I need to do it greatly. And that's just an example how your perfectionism can actually also turn into you hating what you're doing. Maybe you're running a business and you suddenly hate your business, or you hate your passion, you don't enjoy it anymore. Well, that's probably because you're overly focused on the outcome. And also, potentially you procrastinate a lot, and this procrastination is also connected to you having those high standards and then thinking, well, if I give it all right now, if I really, really give it all and I really put effort into this, but I still fail, that would mean that I'm a loser. I mean, this would be the worst. That's why, by the way, there are some people who are always self-sabotaging themselves or never really gave it all. They just do it casually, and when they fail, they have a very good excuse. Yeah, well, I didn't even put effort into this. Of course I failed. And those people are often a low performer, but they're afraid to give it all and then fail because they still think, if this happens, then I'm a failure. Again, this fixed mindset. We draw a lot of connections here. I think for now, you got a decent understanding. If you're interested in working together, there's a link below. You can schedule a first free call with me. That will be already helpful and valuable. And then at the end, we can talk about the possibility of moving forward together. So that call, though, will be already in this free call, will be valuable. So sign up for that if you want to. And also, I want to share another paradox, which is though partly the key out of this perfectionism. And it goes the following. It's actually by Carl Rogers. It's a great psychologist from the last century, I think. And he said, if you fully accept yourself, then you can change. And you don't accept yourself so you can change. No, you fully accept yourself. That's who I am. I also understand why I am this way. It makes sense. My parents also had their reasons why they behaved the way they did. And I'm having my reasons now why I behave the way I do. And it makes sense. And that's who I partly am. And that's okay. And then you can think about, but what would I like to do instead now? And it's again connected to this. It's not now very, very important to change because I have to. No, I accept who I am. And now it would be interesting, though, to change. It takes a little bit the charge away. And if you are interested in changing, then let's talk. Also, share this video with anybody else where you feel like they are perfectionists, they don't even know it properly, or they don't really understand what's going on. Share it with them. You never know who will like it, and it will be helpful. And otherwise, I'll talk to you in the next video.